This is so weird. I've never had the mic like coming always been to the side. So I would just want to cut to the chase. YouTube is censoring us. They don't want us to gain popularity. They don't want us to be big shots. They don't want our voices to be heard.
They don't want change. They don't want change to happen.
No, they don't want change. I've put up the last 2 shorts, no views.
Like is it actually 0 views?
One of them was, so then I took it down, and I am just gonna repost it later.
Okay.
And then I put up another one, and that one had like 12 views in 24 hours. That usually does not happen.
That's weird.
It's much more than that. So I don't. It's the whole algorithm crap, and I just I'm not gonna play it.
It might be, yeah. It could be algorithm. Weirdly enough, I do, and I don't think actually. So I don't think the system is actually pushing us off. Oh. But I do notice that on Instagram, it will dramatically adjust for me sometimes, and I haven't figured out the pattern of if I post regularly, if it keeps it up or does that shut it down. But I have ranges where I know my stories typically have over 1,000 views on all of them, and it's not it doesn't matter how many, if I have 5 of them up in a day or 2 of them up in a day, it's consistently whoever is clicking on it will click on all of them, and then I'll post one day and it's 50.
Yeah.
So it's
I don't get it.
There's not. I don't think there's just that many less people
right
on Instagram,
it's
or that I'm not in their algorithm. Yeah.
It has to be. It has to
be. Yeah, which is weird.
Which are these actual podcasts are getting more views, it seems like, which is awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks everybody that's watching it. It's just weird.
Thanks, guys.
It's just weird that the whole algorithm things are so stupid. It's
yeah,
just
I don't understand
it's some weird game to be played, and I'm just so not interested in playing that game.
It just seems stressful to try to figure it out because, I don't know, it's maybe you should a little bit, but the only way that I'd want to is just the habits of it. You're supposed to post regularly. It's well, that's a good habit to do if you're just trying to build something, is to be consistent with it. So that's fine. But to post certain things because that's what's trending, no.
Right. Well, it's I want to have it be intriguing. I want the thumbnails to be intriguing so that people will be oh, what's this? And they click on it. But I don't want it to then be lies when they actually get to the thing and
well, it's still within our
integrity and
our style and aesthetic too.
Yeah.
It's not going to, you see some words that would so not be me. Because then they'd click on it and they're oh, this is not their vibe at all.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's weird. I don't want to play that algorithm game. I don't want to break my integrity just for views. But
I feel
I would rather just poll to the people that do listen of what do you want to hear us talk about? That over, well, what's everybody else talking about, and how do we get on that train, and how do we just talk about whatever hot button issue is being talked about right now? It's the people that actually watch and listen, that's who we're talking to. That's what I would want to talk about.
That's what's interesting. You can see there's another app that I'm on, Lemonade, where the whole app is.
What the heck is that?
It's a app similar to Instagram, but so not the same crowd. I bet there are 0 guys on this app. It is
really?
just girls posting.
Guys, you hear that?
It's just posting it, but it's content that they would care 0.0 about. It would be my summer hot girl hacks, and it's just a list of them, or it's my sleeping tips, or my whatever. So all the pictures that I sometimes post on Instagram, it's just easier to use the Lemonade templates to do them. And then sometimes if I think they're good, then I'll just post them onto my page, but they're all similar things. I did all of my benefits of milk and benefits of magnesium and how to get better sleep and whatever. And it'll show you the view count on it. And same thing, the magnesium one, and it's also how you can title it too. I think I did like 5 benefits of magnesium and my favorite brand. And that one got like 800 views, but then my benefits or like sleep tips or whatever will get like half of that. So it just kind of shows you where the attention and popularity kind of leans.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of what I mean with the shorts thing too, is like, yeah, there's going to be some that don't get as many views as others, but when pretty consistently it's like right at 400 views is what the shorts typically get. And then there's one that gets 0.
But then one that'll get
12.
over 1,000.
Well, no, I'm talking about for these shorts. Like the shorts that we do of the podcast.
Yeah, but there's where some they're over 1,000 and we're like, for what?
Not really. There's one that's been over 1,000.
No. I'm debating. No.
Put it up right here. All the shorts I've got 1,000. And hey, I won. But most commonly or most consistently is 400.
Yeah.
That's typically what every single one of them will get. If one of them gets 200, it's like, okay, maybe this isn't something that people are as interested in and they scroll through right away. But 12 or 0, like that's where it's like, something's weird.
That's what's weird too with putting, it must just be a part of the algorithm thing rather than people are actually looking for those, because even the titles, like if you're just on, which I rarely do this, but if you're on YouTube and you're scrolling through the reels, it's not like you're seeing the caption. Like you're just seeing the video.
No.
What am I doing then?
I don't know. Maybe on Instagram, but on YouTube, the shorts, you see the caption. It's at the bottom.
But it like pops up with it? Like you'll click on it because of the caption?
No.
Okay,
no,
sorry.
No.
That's what I mean. Like, so when you're scrolling, so say you're scrolling, video pops up. Does the caption show up with it right away, or do you kind of have to click on the video and then it pops up?
No, once you click on the video, it's at the bottom of like what the title of it is and
Ew,
that sort of thing. But that is a good point of it. If you're just like scrolling through YouTube, I guess, and you're not on the shorts page scrolling through, you're scrolling through actual like videos that you'd have to click on and shorts that pop up too. It doesn't give a caption on the short.
It's just like the thumbnail of the video or and the cover or whatever.
I'm not even sure if you can pick or modify what is shown for the cover of the short.
Interesting.
I don't know if you can or not. I haven't looked into that.
So behind the scenes that no one cares about, but when I would make them on YouTube, the bad ones, that you could pick the cover. So I don't know if it's the same uploading process, but I was able to do it then. You're able to do it on Instagram too. But
because that would be something that I would try to do more of to make it more engaging or intriguing, because like it'll be just be random. Like the cover page of the short will just be like
right,
something random, and it just like has the how we put the subtitles in. It'll just have like milk, and it's like, well, this isn't very
intriguing.
Nobody wants to click on this.
Right.
To where I don't know. I haven't been able to figure out, or I don't know how you do that. If you're able to do that, but that's something I should look into.
I think my physical body stuff, my like ailments or my chronic issues, I don't think they really get figured out or fixed unless you are in part of the investigation. So I think your next investigation that we should really dive into with me is my skin.
You do not want to go down this rabbit hole.
Lady,
I've been telling you what to do with your skin.
I know, but
for 25 years.
I know, but I want I'm fine with that advice if you have like give me something to back it up. Cuz when you come at me with the stuff, it just seems like it's your personal bias versus like actually like either an educated guess or an actual educated thought and opinion. Not opinion, an educated conclusion to test.
Is this what we're going to talk about?
No, I just want to bring that to the table.
Because don't get me started. Hey, don't get me started.
Here, let's do this. What are your 3 tips for better skincare?
Fuck off. That's what.
But dive into that, because what do you mean?
Such a like bad interviewer that doesn't want it to go bad. Okay, could you expand on that, please? As a hostile guest, and you're just like, oh, interesting. Okay, how can we pivot? Stop.
Like, what are your thoughts? Like, what do you keep telling? Like, what are your things that you're like, I think if you did these 3 things, everything would be better?
Stop putting 400 different concoctions on your face every day.
Okay, there's one.
Choose one thing and only do the one thing.
Okay.
And even that, I'd be skeptical of what it would be.
Okay.
Because it is a bias. I have a bias of, I don't think that not natural, organic, whatever should go in your body, on your body. Period.
Fair.
So anybody who's doing that now, I'm like, I would handle it differently. My advice would be different. It would be, don't put chemically created stuff on your skin. Don't put it in your body, whatever. So that would be the number one place I would start, is like just not putting a whole bunch of different chemicals on your face all the time. And that's super difficult because women put makeup on. And I get like, it's like, you maybe a lot of the time can't go to your work without makeup on. It wouldn't be socially acceptable or professional. Yeah, that's the better way to put it. So I get that. But then after that, like, I'd be limiting it a lot.
Which I haven't.
Sure, but I mean, but you haven't. Like, it's crazy what I mean, according to my standards, is what I'm going off of. I'm not going off of what you were doing in the past to what you're doing now.
Got it.
I'm like the really bad trainer that's like, you should be going 6 days a week and you're only going 2. And not giving you the props for that.
Oh, okay. So the fact that I'm doing it, like putting it on for the podcast, but I'm not doing it other days for like daily living, it's still like, well, but you're putting it on for the podcast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So nothing that's not natural on your face.
Yes. And then it can be number 2, or a subset of that is, I would still say, if you're going to do something, keep it consistently the same thing and maybe only choose one thing. Choose one thing that's maybe trying to hit all the categories of skin health that you have researched and looked into and whatever. But like, you can't go turmeric on your face, then raw milk, then coconut oil, then aloe, then coffee, and then it's like you're having 400 different things still.
Okay.
And then stop picking at your face. You know?
That one I'm not like
Gonna fight?
No, that is just me being, it's an addiction.
Well, and this is what gets me irritated about the skin health thing is, which I just did a solo podcast about this.
You're going to hate me with this mic thing. I
Why?
keep adjusting it, but I don't like it over here.
That's fine. Okay. You can have it on the other side. I mean, I just did a solo podcast about this. I don't know if it'll be out by the time this one's out yet or not, but
no.
Distinguishing between the health and the aesthetics. The skin health craze for women is so about aesthetics. It's not about the health. And then you're judging whether your skin is healthy or not based off of how it looks. And then what data, or you want to go evidence-based, what evidence or data is there to show that the smooth, non-bumpy, robot-looking skin is even supposed to be healthy.
Wow.
So, like, you're going completely off aesthetics. You're not going
Yeah,
off of
yeah.
health.
Interesting.
Let me just play with my yarn ball
Interesting.
while you think about that.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, okay.
So it's like I'd have to look that up and see, but
Well,
I don't.
all that
I
you're
don't,
gonna find is healthy skin is something that has a lot of vibrancy and smooth texture and even color tones.
Sure, and I think to a very
But what is that based off of, I guess?
general point, yes. But it's just like if you were to see a bodybuilder or you were to see somebody else that's really skinny and you go, oh, they must be so healthy. Well, you don't know what's going on the inside. That guy's on a bunch of anabolic steroids that's destroying his testosterone, destroying his hormone functions. His kidneys are messed up. And that lady that's super skinny that you're admiring maybe has an eating disorder and is constantly in a calorie deficit, doesn't get the nutrients she needs. Her hair's falling out. It's like, you can't just go off of looks and image that is health. It's like just because your skin is smooth or vibrant or whatever you want to say, it's like that doesn't mean that it's good.
See, and that's where I would like. I don't. What is science that is proven and what is just like social science?
Yeah, agreed upon what people
Because
say.
that's, I think, what you would say is, well, if you're healthy, your skin will reflect. Like your skin will reflect whatever's happening on the inside.
Sure, but I think that's where the conversation gets really tricky or confusing, is because you could see somebody that just looks like a normal, weight person, skin is normal, hair is normal, like everything's just kind of normal. But then you put somebody next to them that maybe beats them in all those categories. We don't know for certain that that person that beats them is healthier. If they have bigger muscles, if they have better looking hair, better looking skin. I mean, again, like a lot of bodybuilders go on a stage and their skin looks great, their hair looks great, they're muscular as heck, but that person's not healthier than somebody who's just got a really well balanced diet, exercises frequently, maybe has done a blood panel and all that kind of stuff. Like, we're just going off of image and looks. That's not the best indicator of health. It is potentially one indicator, but that can be deceiving.
Got it.
I mean, it's like I even take me now versus me when I was 17. I weighed more. I was stronger. I was probably aesthetically looked better to the eye, but I was way unhealthier.
Sure.
But image-wise, be like, this guy's almost 200 pounds and muscly and can move a lot of weight and whatever. Yeah, but I'm eating dog shit. I sleep like shit. I'm taking caffeine at 9 p.m. and working out for the second time that day. And it's like my health was crap.
Yeah.
But image-wise, it might be better. And I think this is where the skincare thing on the female side is just so crazy, is it's like it's only about image. Your only indication of whether your skin is healthy or not is based off how it looks. And that is not a good indication in basically any field ever of how something looks. There has to be more looking into it and research and like.
Sure. Because, yeah, I wonder how you would test that then.
Yeah, and that's what I don't know enough about. So it might be hypocritical to even say what I'm saying. But typically how I do anything is like.
Well, it might not be hypocritical. It might just be that's hard to study or that we haven't studied that yet.
Sure, but what I typically do is, okay, so why do we do this over here, but then over here we say the complete opposite thing? And it's okay, or that's correct over here. Well, their skin looks really great, so it's healthy, and they need to be smooth and this and that. Okay, that's all based on image. I can give you a ton of examples of people who look great, and everybody would say looks great to the eye, but they're extremely unhealthy. So why do we do this here? And that's correct, but over here it's not. So it's like that doesn't match up to me. So that's where I go like, there's something weird going on. And we can't just go, well, that people say all this stuff is good for your skin, so you need to be doing it all the time. It's like, we don't do that with health. Like, there's a whole bunch of charlatans and crap going on in the health world where it's like, only this diet is healthy for you. Or, I mean, how much lying is there about red meat, about raw milk, about, you know, fruits, vegetables, whatever. Like, oh, it's fine that you have 700 less calories a day or 700 more calories a day. Like, everything will be fine. And there's just so much BS. But then over in the skin health world, it's like, as long as people say it's healthy for you, it's correct. It's like, well, in this whole other field, we don't do that.
Sure. Yeah.
So why are we doing it over here? Why is it okay over on this side?
Okay, and what would your third thing be?
I don't know. That might be it. I think in general, the skin health. Well, this would probably be my third thing. Is just like not showering with soap and all that kind of stuff every single day. Like, our body's supposed to produce these natural oils, and it's like how you do anything. You inject testosterone in your body's going to stop making testosterone. You put chapstick on every day, your lips are going to stop creating oils to keep your lips moist, whatever you want to say. It's the same thing with the skin. It's the same thing with your hair. If you're shampooing your hair every day, it's going to dry it out, and you're stripping all of the oils and everything every single day. Your body's now going to fight even harder every single day to make more oil. And then you might smell, or you might this, or you might that. But the stripping of all of the oils every single day, I just don't see how that can be good for the skin. And it's also just not necessary. Unless you're working on a farm every single day and
Sure.
rolling in horse shit and whatever, or you're sweating profusely all the time. But I would really limit the soap thing. Because again, it's just like, you're putting chemicals, whether you like it or not, whether you get the most natural soap or not, there's chemicals.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And then not to mention, you're doing it every single day. And people I think they get weird about the like dirt and germs and grime and that sort of thing. And I get that, but it's like, just go rinse off.
I'm not weird about it. It's more of the feeling thing. Like, it feels so gross to me. Not in my body. Like, I've limited doing that. Like, I'll just wash certain parts, but the face thing, I just could not. I can't not feel it.
Yeah. And people don't like working out. You still got to do it. People don't like eating healthy. You still got to do it.
Yeah.
People don't like going to work. Still got to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those would be the things that I would say.
Okay. Do you want to get into the topic?
Sure.
We gotta. Maybe no, we do. I have to come up with better ways to transition.
Our transitions are terrible.
It's just like, okay, so we're starting now. Honestly, who cares? Like, I don't need it to be this magic trick of like, whoa, they're in a topic now. It's just like, yeah, we're gonna start talking about it right now.
Yeah.
You just have to have a screen that goes up. We're getting into it.
No, not even that. Too much production.
Too much production.
We're the real deal. We're raw.
So,
raw milk.
Actually, before we get into that, did you get any gems from your book so far?
No, haven't read far enough into it.
Oh, okay.
Let's talk about this though. You drank bad bone broth and threw up. Cool.
I forced myself to throw up. Well, the initial reaction was it was bad, so it was like causing me to gag.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh no, I should puke.
Get this off.
Otherwise, this is going to be a whole day event.
Yep.
So I was like, no.
Yeah. And that's the worst thing that could happen to anybody, I think. Eating something or drinking something that's gone bad.
Yes.
And it's like too late.
Yes. I did that with the spit of my dad's chew once. You've done that too, didn't you?
No.
One of your siblings, I think, did that.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I did it. We were at the police station working out,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like in a can, and I took it either happened there or we had just been talking about it there, but I like remember this memory there. And yeah, wow.
Just grabbed the wrong can, thought it was
Yep.
the
Yep.
drink you were drinking.
Yep.
Classic.
Which
The classic switcheroo.
I wish I was old. Well, I don't know. I was pretty young. I wonder if I had any feelings about it. Or if I like spit it out quickly enough. Like, did I feel any?
You're like, I'm buzzing.
Yeah, like I don't know.
I love how like you want to know if you were like, did I get high
Like,
from
did
it?
it get in my veins or?
I wish I could tap back into that feeling. Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, let's get into our topic.
The topic is phases of fitness.
Yeah, I feel like this was kind of presented to us when we were watching a podcast of Lane Norton on Chris Williamson, and he talked about phases of life. That kind of what made me, or at least this is what I've connected to with it. And I don't know, I think he just had a really good point of what he was saying of you go through phases of life, and instead of trying to fight it so much, you just kind of accept what it is, and then you make the best of that time. And the way he was explaining it was like, sometimes fitness or health isn't going to be your number one thing. Sometimes it's, work is crazy, or I'm starting a new job and I really got to focus on this for the next, until it's settled, or second nature or whatever. Or maybe you're having your first kid or another kid, and that's really the focus, or you're pregnant or something. Like what has to be done takes priority, and your phase of life is just, that's the priority right now. You're going back to school, you're having kids, you're doing whatever. That sometimes like fitness and health isn't always the number one thing. Or even if it's, take any example, like,
Well, he literally brought up an example of like a late 20s female where he's like, if you're a single mom and you're going to go back to school, your goal right now should not be, I'm going to get in the best shape of my life. And he's like, and this is why I want to talk about it, is I think we have this misconception sometimes, or society presents a blueprint of where we should be at what age of life. That I think also stems even deeper into just like what you should be and how you should be and what success level you should be at, what money you should be having, what relationship status you should be in. I think it's all presented to us in a specific way of, you need to be doing these at specific times. That he brought that up of like, people would think that that girl should be in the best shape because of her age. But yet, like, that's not top priority is her fitness. Her top priority is getting her shit back and her life together. Of like, she's doing something of going back to school and being a single mom. That's not her time to tackle that thing.
Also be extremely invested in, let's get as healthy as possible. And
right. And I don't know if
stuff.
that was like one of his clients, or that's just like such an obvious, I don't know, like a norm of like, you're a female in this age, you should look like this. Like, that
totally.
is a structure of a person.
Females are way more pressured into how they look than males are.
And it was like,
it's like the dad bod thing is like the cool thing.
Right.
It's like people don't care about how men look.
I saw what a person that we used to go to school with posted a long time ago when they used to be friends with them, but they had their first kid, and she was like, I think it's funny how in culture now, like, I'm the one that got pregnant, I'm the one that gains the weight, I'm the one that has the kid, but it's cool for you to be overweight. Like, it's cool for the dad to be like out of shape and have a gut and have a beer belly, but like, you didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Like, you've just been around this whole time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think going back to the phases of life thing, I'm really liking lately, because I think it gives just you're cracking the system. Like, you just have to analyze what is your life presenting and what is going to be top priority or what should be put into more the top priority position. I talked about that in my solo episode where we talk about time management of it's like you're building habits with your life that take, Lane's example of the chick. She could eventually prioritize fitness, but you have to make whatever is needing to be top priority. It's like I think of first-time parents. You need to figure out how to have that kid be in your life first before you start, well, now I'm going to start a new business. And now I'm going to start to get back in shape. Like, the kid's not going to wait for you. You just have to go for it and figure it out as fast as you can. And then once that starts to become a regularity to you, or it's kind of just, this is your new maintenance, then you can go and tackle that next thing, but trying not to do all of the things all the time.
Yeah.
That, again, like taking the 30 and under group, like maybe that is your time to grind and like dive deep into your career and like establish a life for yourself. That kind of going into what you were talking about today, like there's gonna be sacrifices and that's not a failure.
Yeah. Well, that's why I like it, is it kind of takes the pressure off of having to do everything all at once. And that making that aware that like that's also not realistic. And that's not probably the way that you should go about it. That's why people end up having midlife crisis where they completely fall apart because they're starting a new job. They're just married and now they're having kids and they're trying to start a business as well. And then somebody's like, you need to be healthy. You're getting unhealthy. And so now they got to try to be healthy and whatever. Instead of kind of funneling it into, okay, during this phase, what's the most important thing and what do I need to establish and figure out right now? And kind of putting what you can on your plate to be able to accomplish that successfully and have it be also a quicker type of, a quicker time. It's like if you're trying to start a new business and you're having a kid at the same time, health probably isn't going to be or shouldn't really even be on your radar. It's like establish these two things and do a really good job of that. And then that will happen quicker. And then you can go to the health portion or do whatever. But I think people try to do all of it all at the same time. And then it's like, it's taking so long to establish or to do anything because you're split apart in every which way. And you're constantly exhausted and tired and frustrated because things aren't going in the direction that you want it to as quick as you want it to. It's like, well, you're not having the focus and the intention on the things that need to be done or need to be successful right now. It's like that other stuff that can take a back seat, have it take a back seat and then come back to it.
And I think another reason that this is a good conversation, or why I thought it was going to be a good conversation, is again, the categorizing of the ages. I think there is also a specific template of, you're this age, this should be your health and wellness. Oh, you're this age, this should be your health and wellness. That that just might not work within your lifestyle, but then B, like, you're missing so much of the point a lot of the time. Like, you think of 50 on up, you're like, just get activity. Like, just go for a walk, and that can be your exercise, and get outside and have good community around you and do things that make you happy. Yeah, but then you're 23 and it's like, you should be lifting weights at the lowest body fat percentage that you possibly can, but then also have good relationships, go out and party and drink and eat the shittiest, because as soon as you turn 30, it's all downhill. And then do all that and look the best you can possibly look, because that's also going to go downhill.
Yeah, I mean, it's just horrible advice.
Like, I think on all spectrums, because you're also just like feeding a one size fits all template.
Oh, see, I see it as we're acting like each age group is unique in what they need to do as far as exercise or eating.
That is a part of what I think is bad. What I think is also bad is that all those things, like, it has to be a package deal. Like, you can't be the person that goes and enjoys a night out with friends and goes for walks and like prioritizes wellness and also lifts some weights and eats healthy. It's like you either got to be we're bulking and we're a bodybuilder and we're not being healthy and we're all about this lifestyle, or we're like a yogi that never touches a weight and never eats meat. Like, it's like you have to be a part of this whole
you can't blend
idea
into all of the groups.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and kind of like what you were saying too, of in your 20s, it's you should be going out and partying and being with friends and making connections and also growing your career at that time. Like, don't worry so much about health because like you're young, you're resilient, whatever. And then you cut to like, and now 50% of 20-year-olds are overweight.
Or you get to their 30s and they're like, it's going to be bad. Like, as soon as you hit 30, it's going to go downhill. It's like, well, is it because you just didn't do anything for 10 years? Like, you went from being 18 and under and being in sports, and then now you're just an adult not getting any activity, and it was 10 years of buildup, and then you turn 30, and it's like,
and then
of course
that,
it's going bad.
What bad advice too, of like, do whatever you want in your 20s, then when you turn 30, like, you can start trying to be healthy. And it's like, you've just created bad habits for 10 years.
Sure. Yeah.
And now you're going to try to like kick it into gear. It's like, that's not how this works.
Sure.
Like, that's extremely difficult.
Sure.
On my solo podcast,
we're just giving away all the solo podcast info before we're gonna.
I said a stat that I was wrong about, but I was wrong in the like, I was being conservative with it.
Ooh.
In the U.S., 60% of adults are overweight, is what I said. It's actually like 75, and like 43% are obese. Yeah. In the United States, 43% of people are obese.
Wait.
Obese.
So wait, what's the math on that?
Well, overweight is not quite too obese.
No, yeah, I know. So okay, so you said 73%?
Yeah.
And
like
then
74, I think it's.
So 74, and then what's obese? Is it like the rest?
No, it's the including the overweight people, but then that's a separate category.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying there's overweight people and then obese people, and there's like 2% of people that are fine.
No, but isn't that crazy? 74% of people in the United States
are
overweight. But do whatever you want in your 20s. You're resilient. It's like, well, this stat is including 20-year-olds.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think that's what's tricky is
and
you want to go with phases of life of what are you in right now and try to maximize that.
Well, but here's the thing. You do that, but it doesn't mean, okay, so
that's 5 years of your life.
I don't need to worry about health, so I just won't do anything and I'll eat like an asshole and never get off the couch. It's like, no, look at the bare minimum statistics and do that. And that is even extremely difficult for people.
Yeah.
Extremely. I mean, 75% of people in the U.S. are overweight. They're not even doing the minimum. It's like two days of resistance training, 30 minutes each, and like 150 minutes of aerobic whatever.
Yeah.
You know, it's like people can't even do the bare minimum. So it's like we're asking you even to do less than the bare minimum that it says to do.
No, according to Ari, it's just eat one singular salad every once in a while.
Yeah.
He's like, fat people, I have no sympathy for you.
He's like, eat a salad.
He's like, one salad. That's all you got to do. Just eat a salad.
It's so funny when you hear comedians talk about health because it's like you have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, I know.
Not a single clue. That's something that when Bert talks about health, I'm just like, my God, I hope people don't listen to him for health advice.
Well, but that's what's funny was he was on that. So Ari was on the episode, and it's kind of like a wellnessy podcast, and she was saying like Bert has so many good like wellness tips, and Ari was like, "You're telling me the guy that is extremely overweight, drinks till he's drunk every single time, like overloads his schedule, stress ball. You're telling me he has the wellness tips? Like,
yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Like the guy that drinks wine while he's on the treadmill. Yeah. Do not take wellness tips from him.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, but he tongue scrapes and he cold plunges. It's like,
yeah.
Okay, but still he's doing all that other stuff.
Yeah. Which is another thing. Like Lane talks about that a lot of like, there's such a culture of like the cold plunging and the doing this and doing that. It's like, okay, so you're doing the thing that moves the lever 1%.
Sure.
It's like cold plunging
Well, it's
isn't,
like supplements.
yeah,
What the one lady said. It's like healthy people get healthier off of supplements. It's the people that are already doing the stuff.
yeah. It's people want to do the thing that's going to do stuff that's 1% because it's easier to fit into the schedule, or there's a culture around it that you're now part of a group and that's exciting
Well,
and
it's easier.
whatever. It's easier. I mean, I wouldn't say cold plunging is easy, but there's this like
The craze about it. Like
cool craze.
it's harder to do that. It's like, okay, go do a workout.
Right.
And then not talk about it. That's
Right.
difficult.
But that's not cool and different and unique and whatever. But I think with the phases of life thing, you have to still do the other things, but it just doesn't take your focus and attention as much. If
Sure.
if you're, you know, starting a new job and you're like have newborn kids and whatever, like those things need to take the focus and attention. But then I would be trying to be active a little bit. I wouldn't be stressing about it and super worried about it and whatever. I would be telling myself like, this isn't the time that I'm going to dive into this and figure this out. I have other more important things on my plate, but I want to try to do a little bit of something to keep some momentum going in that area.
Or to know like I'm designating this phase is not what that is for.
Yeah.
And then when it becomes a habit or when it becomes a routine, that's when you implement the next thing.
But I don't think it means to completely stop that area of your life unless it's under extreme circumstances. And that is going to be less than 1% of situations.
Well, because that extreme scenario, it's probably going to be short-lived.
Well, and you're probably going to be forced into doing that. It's not.
Sure.
If you have the choice to go work out or not, you're not in an extreme situation.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
well, and it's not even just
like,
working
well,
out.
I'm in an extreme situation. Like, I have newborn kids and I just got married and I'm starting a new job. But
that is not extreme to me.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm thinking like you just got a crazy illness.
No, yeah, exactly. But this is what I'm saying is because I think people will go like, well, my situation's pretty extreme. And it's like, no, it's not. Like,
yeah, it's just
you
hard
have
right now.
5 hours at night that you're just sitting there watching TV. Like, you have plenty of time to go work out or to go be healthier or whatever. And even the food part of it is like, you always have a choice to choose healthier options.
Right. It's like you're not eating.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the needing to adjust with what you're in is helpful. Like, this is my phase of life right now. That phase could be 2 weeks. It could still like go on. Like, you take the newborn kid thing. Or no, let's take some of that of experience. Like taking a new job on. Your whole schedule might need to adjust around that. So your eating is going to be different. Your sleep might be different. Your social activities might be different. When you actually get that work done might be different. How that happens, your driving, your commute, whatever. So then a lot of those things within your life need to be adjusted. So you might not be doing all of them good, lack of perfect, but good even, that choosing the one thing to just kind of focus on, like with my day yesterday, like I had a 2-shift thing. Like
Split shift.
Taught in the morning and then I taught in the afternoon. So I had a couple hours in between. I pretty much just prioritized work and working out. I'm not going to try to go do something fun. I'm not going to try to go get groceries done. I'm not going to try to go run errands. Like, what are my top 2 that I can actually achieve and get done within this time? I'm not going to go like, well, I need to just like figure out how to do life right now.
Yeah.
It's like, no, this is just 1 day a week, or right now it's my new schedule. So what are going to be your top tier things? And then if I eventually get really good at doing those top tier things and work it into the schedule, then maybe I can implement something else. But I'm not going to stress or feel bad about, oh, well, I can't do that and not run errands or not get all this other stuff done. It's like, that's just putting too much pressure on that short amount of time. Or like when we go back home, we make an effort to go work out and to eat healthy, but we're also understanding the circumstances of we're around different activities, different people, like our schedules are not on the same thing. Like the point of doing that is to go back to see people and hang out or do whatever things that we're going back for. It's not to be healthy.
Yeah, well, it's like most of the time we're going back and everybody's getting together, so everybody's like, let's just get pizzas. Let's just do this. Let's just I mean, it's not your regular schedule. So it's like we're not cooking our own food. So we're just not eating what we usually eat. We're not sleeping in our own bed. We're not having the same sleep schedule. Like it's kind of that thing of control what you can control, but don't be no fun. Like the point is to go back and to have fun and be around people and the relationship building and all that kind of stuff. So it's like that is more important than what the meals are going to be or how much I'm drinking or not or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that can go into more of your day-to-day life type of thing. Like obviously you could see that as we know that it's going to be short term. We know that we can kind of go off the rails because this will end and there will be a forced ending because we're coming back home and then we'll dive right back into our regular life. To where if this is an adjustment for your day-to-day life, again, I think I just go back to do small incremental changes at a time. Try not to be a master of all.
Well, and that's what I think is so great about the little book that you got that prompts you to answer that question every day of like, what would make the day successful?
Yeah. Also my solo.
Like that I think is a great place to start with it all. Because all you do is you choose one thing that's going to make the day successful.
And even change your wording. What would happen in the day, or is it what would make you happy if this thing happened today? Not even successful. What would make you happy? Now, I like the successful thing for what we're talking about, but I also like the happy thing because...
Yeah, I just immediately wanted to...
punch me in the face by saying
scream.
That. I know.
Because I don't like the happy part of that.
And that's why I made an extra point to say it and to interrupt.
And the more angry I get, the softer I'm gonna talk. Because I don't like this. So, that's a perfect way to even start that ball rolling of, okay, what is going to make today, enter whatever word you are most comfortable with. And just having that be answered every single day, then you can accomplish that or you don't. And that is then actively pushing you into and actively thinking about the thing that I'm wanting to get done or to do. So like the day you have the split shift, if it's like, what's going to make me happy today is just getting through the split shift and working out, then that's what it is. But even that might not be great advice because that's picking kind of two things that can get a little crazy, I think, because people will be like, well, if I get these 10 things done, I'll be happy. It's like, no, you can only choose maybe one.
Well, and that's what I say in my solo episode is that was my tip number 2, I think, was don't set yourself up to fail from the jump.
But I don't think people know that.
Don't. That's why I had a solo episode on it.
This isn't your solo episode. This is a me episode.
That's why I made it one of my tips and tricks for time management is not setting a goal that's way too extreme that you're setting yourself up to fail. You can't go, like you said, I can't go, well, I want to get all these 15 things done and do it perfectly and eat all the right things. And it was like, what are you doing? Like you're self-sabotaging because realistically, none of those things are going to get done to where every day you could feel accomplished because you just have to prioritize one thing. Realistically, other things are going to get done, but all of those are put on the back burner that you know that you're going to prioritize this one thing versus having 10 things and half of they all get half done.
Mm-hmm.
Because like, well, I'll do a little bit of this. Well, but I also got to do this. And then I also got to do this. Like just focus on the one until it's done.
Yeah. And then that's your success or happiness for the day. And I think that goes with the phases of life thing too, of if your thing every single day is I want to work out, because I'm on this health kick. I'm on this health journey. Then you write that down every single day. It's like you can make it different every single day, and you can just constantly be accomplishing the day. And I think what you maybe even start to notice is you writing the thing down, you start to get an idea of what the phase of life is for you. Am I more about health right now? Am I more about work right now? Am I more about, the kids? Like, I want to handle this situation with my kid because they freak out every time I tell them no. It's like, okay, my goal for today is do not get emotional if they scream at me for saying no. So I think that practice can start to show you what phase you're even in. If you don't even know, because some people might be going like, well, I don't know what I should focus on. And then it just seems kind of arbitrary to just like pick one. It's like, well, wake up and think, what would make me feel happy today? Okay, getting the groceries done. Okay, then you go get that done. Boom. Okay, then boom. And then you go to the next thing. Next day. You just keep doing that day after day. And you might see over a week's time, 2 weeks, a month, like, oh, I'm like, I notice even in me, like, I feel really accomplished when I do these specific types of things. And this must be kind of the phase that I'm wanting to do. Like, if it's all like a clean home, getting groceries done, like keeping everything organized and that sort of thing, it's like, oh, I'm in this kind of phase of life of like really just lifestyle, having the environment really comfortable and secure. And then that stuff might change. It will most definitely change. Like, nobody stays in the same phase of life or same thing that they feel like is most important to do all the time.
Yeah, well, I mean, even when I was tracking every day with that, there was several weeks where every day it was an actual work task. Like, I wanted to get this work thing done today, and then I saw over several weeks like multiple projects getting done. And then like the following week it was like, I want to do face yoga today, and I want to like make sure that I do it 3 times, or I want to make sure that I want to do the pasta tonight, and I want to like make homemade pasta. So like it completely can pivot into, well, now I did the work stuff, and I was so efficient at it because I set up little daily things that like the projects are done. So now I can just focus on, all I have to get done today is make some pasta.
Yeah.
And that might last a couple days, and then I might go to my next work thing. But
yeah,
like I think there's long durations of the phases, and then there's a couple days, few weeks where I'm having a couple funky, moments pushed together. But still like honoring that that's even happening. I think we just go through life just like, oh, well, I'm experiencing this now and I'm experiencing that now. It's like, think of when you were in high school to when you're the current age right now.
I know,
or
this
when you're in high school versus when
time.
you're even younger. That's like, you're not the same person.
No.
Your goals are different. Your motivations are different. Your happiness, the things related to your happiness are different. Your outlook on life is probably shifted. So why would the whole scope of your being not change? Like everything you do, why would that not adjust with how I'm a new person with these phases?
Yeah. School, you're doing that all the time. Everything is structured and scheduled, and you have to get this done by this time and whatever. And I think we don't really do that skill unless we're maybe in a job that kind of requires doing that skill.
Or like an extreme life change.
Yeah. And then even then, it's like we don't really utilize that or do that. I mean, I was dog shit at it. I never filled out my assignment notebook. I never had anything scheduled or dealt with or prepared. Like, it was just fly by the seat of my pants. And it's like, that's stressful. And that's not.
It doesn't help your adult life.
It's that thing of a little bit more work and you feel so much more relaxed and prepared. And that's really my battle all the time. It's like just a little bit more preparation and you'll be like so much better, more comfortable, more relaxed, more everything.
Yeah. Well, and even that, like, so right now, that is a version of your phase of life. That's a tool that you're trying to gain in the phase of life that you're in right now. Like, I feel like right now you're very singular focused in a good way. Like, you're very trying to tune up the weird, like, you're in a shift. So you're trying to recognize, okay, I'm in a shift. How do I like change all aspects of that? And then, okay, now I work like this. I think this way. I do my thing, my hobbies, my activities this way. It's like, if you don't take an analysis, I think, of those changes, that's when it starts to be like, life is just kind of like taking control. Like, well, yeah, because your life is changing. I think it takes like a dramatic shift for a lot of people, or for us to even recognize it, to then push us into doing something
to kind
different.
of wake up a little bit.
To where it's like, it's happening all the time. Like, I feel like major parts is like when people have kids, when people, I don't say when people get married, but like,
yeah, that could be one.
Maybe that could be one. More so, maybe when people get divorced.
Yeah.
Or when kids start going into school, or like people start dying around you. Like, I think it has to shake your whole, it has to shake your everyday to notice it. Like, your kid's going to school now, that now readjusts the whole schedule and everything. You having kids, that readjusts the whole schedule and how you think about things and your viewpoint on life. You get divorced, you're now like having to restructure how you, like, who are you to then present to other people now again. And if someone dies, obviously that shifts you. That it's, I think it happens on so much smaller of a scale that it seems so insignificant that we don't adjust to it. To where I'm like, it's summertime, my life's changing. I have a haircut, I'm a new me.
Yeah.
Like, not that you have to do that, but I think it could offer an opportunity to do that.
Well, and that's what people do when they turn 20, when they turn 30, when they turn 40.
Yeah.
And it's like, how is that different from going from 28 to 29? It's like, it's just another year. But it's like, I'm 30 now, and I'm different.
Right. I think you should be doing that every year. I think you should be doing that quarterly.
I don't know if I agree with that.
It's like me with what I said, going to school. When you get school supplies. Like,
yeah, a new theme.
I'm deciding who I'm going to be this year.
Yeah, I
do that quarterly now.
That's
probably even more.
That's
like, am I adjusting the way that I want? No. Let's do it. Let's figure it out.
I think that's extremely bad advice and dangerous.
You think so? Why?
Oh, you're just like giving a gateway to multiple personality disorder. Well, it's like I also think it's most likely really inauthentic when you're like every quarter you're like,
who am I gonna? No,
I'm a completely different person now. And it's like, oh, nice to meet you, Rebecca. I guess that's what your name is now. Like,
no, I'm not saying like you're changing your identity. It's just like little check-ins or little adjustments. It's like, my year does not look the same all the way through.
Okay, but let's dissect that a little bit, because are you making the changes or are they naturally occurring?
Both.
I knew you were going to say both, and that just pissed me off so much.
I say both because...
But why do you... Well,
let me ask you maybe what you mean. The phases of where they change are coming to me, but then the adjustments that I do, I'm doing. So, like,
yeah,
say, for example, some part of the year, we're traveling constantly.
Some part
So, like, our life is in hotels, not at home, not doing our regular thing from day to day. And then there's some parts of the year where we don't leave the house.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I can't be the same. I can't live my life the same. So I have to adjust to that.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. And I think more so what I was taking from what you were saying was like, I'm bored today. I'm going to change who I am. And not so much like these life things are impacting me or affecting me. Here's the deal. This is great. I know exactly what you're saying, but they don't know what you're saying. That's the problem. And that's what we need to dissect.
Okay.
because I 100% agree with you. I love going like, you know what? No, I'm going to be the person that like does this now, and really try to just I'm this person. Like I'm going to be the person that is healthy now. So I'm going to start figuring out how to work out. I'm going to start figuring out how to eat healthy, and that is going to be me now. I think that's great. The danger I think comes is like, you know what? I'm just going to be somebody who doesn't give a shit anymore. And then they just start being a brat to everybody because they don't give a shit anymore. And then 3 weeks later, that's not actually who they are. So then it's like, now I'm back to being a meek me, and I'm quiet and I don't say anything and I do give a shit and whatever. And then 3 weeks later, it's now just any other example, something else very random. Like the changing in personalities all the time.
Okay, so I don't think for me it's necessarily a personality shift. Sometimes that's an effect of it. Like sometimes that happens with it, but it's more of a behavior adjustment.
So it's more of you're changing actions. You're not changing.
I'm not changing me. Well, it's not that. It's not like I want to try to be this person. It's I may be like, so okay, take that example. I'm not going to go, I want to be someone that doesn't give a shit and lashes out. Or I shouldn't even say that. Because that's my take on someone that doesn't give a shit. It's like, you just lash out on people then. But if I'm going to be a person that doesn't give a shit, I need to more break that down and internalize that of, okay, so you want to set up behaviors to still be you, which in my opinion of myself is I think I'm still a kind adult that can handle herself generally. So the takeaway is I want to be able to have confident conversations. I want to be able to not have people walk over me in maybe confrontational situations. I want to be someone that is getting practice with speaking her mind in a way that's effective and still appropriate and responsible and professional. So then I may start a podcast.
Sure.
I may start getting into conversations with people that I know are in my wheelhouse that might challenge me a little bit, but would never force me to get angry, because then that might be like advanced level practice. But I might implement things daily to like develop that new muscle that I want. Does that in turn maybe change my personality of I'm not a meek, shy person anymore? Maybe I hold myself with a little bit more confidence all around because I practice that skill. Yes. And is that something that I would intentionally decide? Like, I want to be someone that talks confidently. Well, then I need to work. Like, that's something I do think you need to decide and work on.
How do you know if the thing that you're choosing to try to change is actually positive or not? Because I think I don't think that question is thought about a lot when the person's like, because usually it goes like this. Somebody gets walked over and that pisses them off, and then they go home and they internalize it, and then they go like, you know what, I'm just going to be somebody who doesn't give a shit anymore, and I'm going to say what I think. But the question of, okay, but is this actually a good thing to do, doesn't come up. It's just this immediate pendulum swing into like, well, I listened to this podcast and they said, you know, phases of life, and to go with the phases of life. And you know what? This just happened. And you know what? I'm freaking sick and tired of being walked over. So I'm going to be a tough ass now, and I'm not going to take any shit. Because I don't want that to come from this conversation.
I think it is like you displayed the answer. If you are having an emotional reaction about it, it's wrong. Whether that's a positive or a negative. If I'm like, I'm so amped, like I'm going to be like a confident person now or whatever.
That's
like,
going to die hard.
Calm down. Like there's not going to be a I think it's harder to create a constructive plan and behavior because you might go into it way crazy because you're excited about it. The same way that you're like, I'm getting sick of being walked over. It's like, okay, hold on. You're also acting from anger and somewhat of a like weakness because
bitterness.
You're trying to fight back to something. So now you're going to implement behaviors that is, I'm really amped about this change, so I'm going to maybe go in a little bit crazier than I should and I can handle, like a workout program. I'm really motivated to do this, so I'm going to start with 7 days a week. Like, well, that's going to fail. Same way that the talking confidently is probably going to fail. So even that, the confidence aspect of it. I want to work on talking and being more effective with communicating. If this is off the jump, I might not start a podcast. It's like, but does everything else align with that? Maybe it doesn't. Like for us and for me, it did. Not saying that's why I did this, but if I'm just a nobody that doesn't like talking, not a nobody, that was mean. If I'm not a nobody, that's wrong word. I sounded like such.
Gets 20 views on a podcast. If I'm a nobody like you guys.
No, what it felt like when I said that, it's like I
that's hilarious.
Transported like back in time, and I'm like in high school. I'm like, I don't want anyone to think I'm belittling them. So it's like I just wanted to be so welcoming to everybody, and I felt like it was me talking to someone else about like a nerd in the class, and they overheard me. That's what that just felt like. And it just like hurt.
Oh, that's
because
so
it's
funny.
like so not how I am or how I would want to be. But if you're
rambling, words come out.
If you're someone that wants to work on speaking with confidence and being good at communication, but where you are currently at is you are the shyest person and you don't talk to anybody and you don't like sharing any thoughts, that might be too big of a jump that's going to scare you into then doing the reverse. To where, for me, I talk pretty regularly to people. I'm fine with sharing my opinion, but I want to get more eloquent with how I do it. I am the person that's like, I'm going to tell you how it is. And it's like, you're chaos. No, I'm not with anybody.
You want to tell those nobodies.
But it's like, but I get into conversations like this with people, and they're like, well, only 2% of people are going to understand what I'm talking about, and the other people are going to get pissed because they're going to take what I'm saying wrong. Okay, well, I need to get better at that. So I'll do a podcast because that will help me practice doing that over and over again so that I don't have moments, hopefully like I just did, where I said something and I'm like, no. But then on the negative, if I'm having that aggressive, fuck you, you're not going to walk all over me. Now I'm going to take actions to create behaviors out of anger that are all going to be attacking. And anytime someone pushes me back on something that they disagree with, it's going to be a fight and a debate versus a conversation.
Yeah, and you've probably become more sensitive. Something that you could have handled before is now something that you've acquired this new anger identity of I don't take shit, and now it's like you're lashing out at things that you wouldn't have before.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's my answer is just what's my feelings about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think that's a good way to gauge it, because like I do that in my own head of like, okay, I want to be more like this, or I want to try to acquire this skill or whatever. But then I'm like, okay, but is this actually positive? And then I'm sitting there thinking like, I don't know if this is actually positive. I don't know if I should do this, or I don't know if I should try to do this. And then it kind of goes to that natural of like, what reasons am I wanting this to be this way? And it's like, are you wanting to be more manipulative? Are you wanting to be more... Yeah, where is it coming from, basically?
Mm-hmm.
Is it coming from bitterness and resentment and anger and sadness and frustration? Or is it like kind of nothingness? It's kind of coming from nowhere. It's like, I just feel like this would help me deal with situations a little bit better. But there is an emotion attached to it. You know, it's like, I don't know. Like you bringing up the happiness thing, like that still just makes me just like, I don't.
I feel like happiness
Like, it
for
just
you is when
takes-
people say fun to me.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, okay.
It's like,
what
what
are
are we
you like,
talking about?
yeah,
Happiness?
ugh.
Like, why are we? It's just such a stupid word and a
Which is
stupid
so
thing
dumb.
to.
It's like that is not random that we think that, and it's just so annoying. It's like, get over your childhood, you know? It's like two words that are so whatever, and they
Yeah, exactly.
irritation.
Yeah.
And they're like positive words. And I'm like, if you say have fun to me,
Yeah.
I immediately, again, the response. What's my response? My response is, I want to go so the opposite. And I'm like, fun is weak. And I want you to know that fun is weak. And because you told me to have fun, I want you to know that you shouldn't be having fun. And if you're having fun, you're not working hard enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Psychopath.
And I think.
Psychopath.
And that's a whole other bag of worms, because with that, I'm taking it as, okay, I am getting emotional about that. And
That was gonna be my next thing.
I should probably look at that and figure out what. This isn't even the topic of the podcast anymore, but but it's almost the opposite. It's not something happened and somebody pissed me off and I'm going, I'm going to lash out and whatever. It's, I only see the negative in everything, and people would generally say it's better to see the positive, or at least have a little bit of a balance of that. And that just irritates me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, well, there's something with this irritation that maybe you
Well, okay, so
need
can
to
I
face.
pass it over to me? That's also what I was gonna say is, how do I decide if there is a kind of like, are you noticing that you're in the same conversations? Are you noticing that things in life keep happening, that you keep experiencing somewhat of the same thing? What's the common denominator? So same, like, if people keep telling me that you don't have fun, you don't do anything for fun, okay, that's not random. Like, it's not like everyone is conspiring against me. Like,
Yeah.
I am displaying lack of fun or anger toward fun or hatred towards fun to this many people that they are bringing it up. And I'm having an emotional response to it. So that's my way to analyze it. It might not be, okay, you just need to have more fun. But again, tying it back to phases of life, I think that's why I had such a negative taste in my mouth with fun, was because the phase of life that I keep being in doesn't match with the fun that it's being told to me what I should be having. If that makes sense. Like,
Yeah, it's not the
when
type
we're
of
in
fun
high
that you're
school,
into.
they're like, well, why don't you go to parties? And it's like, well, because that wouldn't be fun for me.
Yeah.
Or right now, I don't want to go out and hang out with friends.
Yeah.
But that's like, well, but you're not fun. No, that's just not fun for me. So now I'm correlating, well, I don't like all the things that everybody around me likes, so I just don't like fun. Versus
Right.
like there being shades and categories of that. I can still take well, let's work on having fun, or let's work on not being so against it.
Yeah.
By rephrasing what that needs to look like for you.
Yeah, not having such an emotional whatever about it.
So my working on it might go, let's try to find what's fun for you.
Yeah. And I think the happiness thing for me is it's just such a vulnerable word to me. It makes me feel so silly, and it is. It's the same thing of like the fun thing to you. I'm like, people are like, well, what makes you happy? It's like, what? No. Like, I'm not going to tell you what makes me happy.
Sure.
That's so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And there shouldn't be that amount of uncomfortability with it. So it's like having that type of emotion and reaction to people asking me what makes you happy, or like pointing out that I may be laughing or having a good time or something, or I don't know. It's like,
If you want to know where that stems from, go listen to the last episode.
yeah. Well, and it's even that of like, I don't want to talk about or have like I like these things for some reason, that is just so uncomfortable to me. That is so much that is, which is weird because it's literally the same thing but opposites. I am fine with talking about what irritates me and pisses me off. That is, I have no embarrassment. I have no uncomfortability over that at all. You ask me what I like. It's like, don't ask me that.
Mm-hmm.
That's very odd. Why would you ask me that?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, don't try to get to know me. I don't want any part of that. I don't want you knowing what I like.
Yeah.
And I have no idea where that comes from. It might just be what we talked about in the last episode or something of like picking on each other and using stuff against each other and whatever.
Yeah, maybe it's like, it's just more ammo.
Yeah, and it's like more uncomfortable for some. I don't know. It's such a weird thing. But with that, it's like, I probably shouldn't be uncomfortable about that. That's holding back certain things in my life. It's like, I can't see the positive in things because I just don't have, my brain just not wired to do that. I haven't wired my brain to do that. I only look at the negative and talk about the negative. That like, okay, you have a weird emotional thing to this, but I think generally people would say you should have a little bit of this,
Right.
happiness and being comfortable to say, yeah, that's really cool. I like that. And not feeling so weird and uncomfortable about it.
Right. Yeah. The third way I think I make those decisions is kind of like that. Like, I go off of other people. Like, I analyze other people so much. That's a majority of our conversations, I feel like, is just analyzing others and their actions and their behaviors and like breaking them down to such a specific, like, I wonder where that came from. Why did they do that way? What's the stem of the cause and effect of all that? That if I see something in someone else that I like, then I want to take it on as a new attribute, or something that I don't like. I'm like, okay, I got to make sure that I'm not like that. So if there's a sliver of me like that, or I do it in these ways, it's got to be cut.
Yeah.
Because like, I feel like you're a more capable person than I am. So that's something that I would be trying to work on, of like just doing things myself. Because I'm like, oh, it seems like that's such a superpower for you. Like, I feel more comfortable because you are around to handle things. So I want to feel that. So it's like, okay, that's a cool thing that he can do. So I need to do that.
Yeah, well, it's the same with me with the happy thing. Like, you'll be like, God, it's just so nice out today. I'm like, okay, it's like that every day. But it's like you get so much joy from the little things. Like, you do such a good job of just constantly, it's almost like you're microdosing little happy spurts all day long.
Yes.
And seems like a superpower for you. Like, you're just able to constantly stay in it's like a really regulated place, but regulated happy place. Like, it's not like the monotone, no high, no low. It's like you're a little bit elevated and happy and just kind of staying there.
Sure.
Because you're like, I love this coffee that I have every day. I love how it's nice outside. Like that we go on a beach walk. It's like, I just like where we park. It's like, it's just these little tiny things. And that is so foreign to me. But you're just kind of living in this world every day. And that, I mean, it's like when I compare that to me, I'm like, I'm the same thing, but on the bottom. Like, I'm just
putting any little micro negative.
Yeah, I'm just like slightly pissed all the time. But I do a good job of like staying at that level of pissed.
Right.
It's not like
it's a simmer.
Yeah, but it's not like something happens and then I'm going to boil. It's like I just like, oh, just another reason to stay simmering.
Yep. I hope that's something that, and mine as well, like the capability thing.
I wonder what the nobodies do.
I hope that's something. See, it's all unraveling. It's all unraveling. This is why you don't want to share anything.
It's what?
This is why you don't want to share anything, because this is probably what has been done to you.
And isn't it fun?
You take a vulnerability or something that happened that made me feel sad, and now you are going to annihilate me. Because and
Annihilate.
you were annihilated, so now you don't want to share anything. Moving on.
All I'm saying, don't make mistakes.
Yep.
No, I'm honestly I'm trying to say it so much because it was so funny to like not make it serious.
You have zero effect on that. For me, specifically.
For you, yeah.
I'm saying for me, I get that tactic probably could work. I could see a world where that works.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's like you're not gonna change how upset it made me. Like,
oh, I know.
I know it's not serious. Obviously, no one listening is like, "Wow, she's the worst." Did you hear what you just said? Like, no one is.
Don't put it past them.
No one is feeling 2% of what I feel by saying that. They're just like, you said something and you talked about it for a little bit and maybe too long. Move on. But I can't change how I feel about it. But what I was saying is, I hope that's something that we both dial in with kids, because obviously me being capable is just like kind of a baseline requirement. I feel like.
Yeah, I think you're.
And yours, like, that's all kids are, is just finding the joy in little stupid shit and the innocence of that. That I think if you're not able to connect with that, like, you're not gonna. Maybe not that you can't, but maybe it's less fun or it's less magical to like see and get excited with them for stuff.
I don't think that will happen. Where I'm just like stay the same with that. I think when it's my kids, it'll be like, this is hilarious.
Well, I mean, yeah, not even hilarious, but like to be able to match, maybe not match, because that's maybe extreme, but like to not shut them down. Like when they find, like,
no, I wouldn't.
When me and Riley when we went on the walk, and I was like, Chaney would not be able to do this. Like,
why?
She was pointing out every blade of grass and going like, look at this. Look at the dead worm on the sidewalk. Look at this. It's just so beautiful. Look at the water. Just pointing out every silly little thing. But like, it was for kids, like, I feel like it's so genuine. Like, she's not doing it because she's trying to be funny or like interesting. She's not going like, ooh, this will be good to say. Like, she's having an experience that I would hate for you to go like, it's just a tree.
No, I wouldn't do that.
Okay.
Or maybe be like, yeah, the dead worm is so beautiful.
Problem.
Problem. That's what. I think one of the other things that I wanted to point out is the health and workout thing. There's some just not good advice about that, of like, you need to work out differently as you get older.
Yes.
And breaking news, you don't need to work out differently when you get older. You should be doing pretty much the same things you've been doing. You'd be told to do as a kid, or to do as younger. It's like, the more active you are and lifting weights and putting on muscle and preserving muscle and eating healthy, like, I think things may change as far as your capabilities and what you could do, but the goal to me should always be to be able to be like top-notch movement and mobility, and
your lack of capabilities has nothing to do with your age. Your lack of capabilities has to do with your lack of efforts towards that.
Exactly. If you're losing the capabilities, it's because you weren't doing the stuff to begin with, or you had a very serious injury that's now hindering something, but that can be worked on and overcome and all that kind of stuff too. But I think there's this, there's this weird thing of like, people say, well, you actually want to keep on more fat as you get older because you need it to blah, blah. It's like, you need kind of the same amount as you did when you were younger for hormone balance and energy storage and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't mean you can put on more fat and that's going to be better for you as you get older. It's just as dangerous. I mean, it might be more dangerous to have excess fat as you're older than it is to have not enough. So it's like there's that kind of advice that gets thrown out there, or you need to eat differently now that you're older. You need to work out differently, like don't lift as many weights. Cardio, you need to do more cardio. It's less impactful and it's less dangerous, and it's good for your heart. Like they always throw that out there, like that's the only thing that's ever going to kill somebody is when they get older. It's like, well, it's good for your heart. It's like, okay,
It was
yeah,
like it was always good for your heart. It's just
yeah,
you're dealing with a demo. Like you're selling. You have a different target market. Like
totally.
that's what that age group cares about.
And that's
like you tell that to a 20-year-old, they're like,
right. And
my
that's
heart,
what
who cares?
all of that advice is. It's just they're trying to target a market and convince you that you need to do something different than you actually do, because they're probably trying to sell you something, or they're trying to convince you of something to, I don't know, to sell you something on, or to get you to keep listening or whatever it is, to where it's like, no, you need to do the same things you need to do before. You need to have muscle so that you can move and be resilient and lift stuff up and put stuff down and move around effectively. You need to have good mobility in your joints and all that kind of stuff so that you're not having aches and pains and you can continue to move. As you get older, that doesn't change. You know, I said on my solo one of like, who's running marathons in their 80s? But how many people are still maybe lifting up boxes or lifting up gallon jugs of milk or water or whatever? It's like you need the muscle way more than you need the cardio. And I think people think that they're only going to get the heart health benefits from cardio. And it's like you get plenty of it from resistance training. And that's going to take you much further and longer way in life as you get older than having some cardio.
Which I think that's just it's a little bit of all of it if you enjoy that.
Yeah.
And like mix it up with how you're doing that. Like I don't like running or doing that kind of cardio, but I teach dance, and every once in a while like I'll go crazy with it, or like I'll go take class every once in a while, or it's like do an activity that's fun. Like when we're going on a beach walk, it's like I can do that. We can walk in the sand for a very long time, and like challenging yourself to going on longer walks, going on hikes, or playing pickleball. Like how many people around here, that's their cardio or activity, is they're going to go play a game. It doesn't just have to be, again, what is presented to you as normal.
Yeah. And I think what is maybe lost in that too, and really I think it's a generational thing. Like the advice that the older generations got was, you're getting older, like you really need to focus on your heart, and heart attacks are a big issue, so like make sure you're getting your cardio in, and you know, getting zone 2 training or whatever. To where I think it's changing now because there's just more information about it, more studies done and research and stuff. But yeah, I guess I would say like if you're getting older and still kind of believing those things, or even seeing things that say like, once you hit your 50s, like here's the workout program for 50-year-olds. Here's the workout program for 60-year-olds. It's like there's no evidence to say that there should be anything different. It should be the same things that 20-year-olds are doing. Lifting weights, having good activity, getting outside, walking around, movement, all that kind of stuff. But the most important thing that like the research and studies continues to see and show is preserving muscle. Like if you are losing muscle as you're getting older, it's going to naturally happen, but trying to like stave that off as much as possible, that is a huge key and indication. As soon as you stop moving or aren't able to move as well and move about, like get up off the chair, and you start to become more and more sedentary, like it rapidly starts to decline after that. So, and the key thing to that is having muscle to move. And that needs to be the focus, I think, when you're younger and as you get older. Is like resistance training needs to be the center and the staple. I know we talk a lot about like, do whatever you need to do to get into this and get the ball rolling. And that's
again,
still
maybe
totally
that's the phase that you're in.
Right. But I think at some point when you maybe don't have the issue of going to the gym anymore, resistance training has to be the staple, because preserving muscle is just the most important thing.
Well, I think we have, I mean, in my family specifically, like having people as they get older not being able to take care of themselves and in nursing homes, that it's kind of wild how like how resilient our brains are. Like that is a totally different conversation. And I think something shocking dealing with it personally, and like when you see it happen in your family, just how much we do not understand that as a society, like how our brains work and function and develop and then decline. But it's like, at least for experiences with my family, it's not the brain that went bad first. It's the lack of muscle to be able to move their body around and do daily functions. It's like, if you don't have enough muscle, you can't walk. If you don't have enough muscle, like you can't go to the bathroom by yourself. You can't control you going to the bathroom by yourself. You can't feed yourself. You can't move around your own place. So now you have to be put into a home. You have to have help, like assistance with everything. It's like your autonomy is completely shot.
Yeah.
But you have the brain power to be able to understand that. And it's like, I can do these things, but your body can't. Your body gives out first. And a lot of that, your body gives out with the lack of muscle.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. All right.
That's all I really have to say about all that.
I think, huh?
It's like 3-hour podcast. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
Yeah. That was a short one. That's it. All right. Well, say goodbye to the nobodies. See you later.